When I first thought about doing an 100 subscriber special, I saw that one of my first comments ever on this channel would be a perfect idea. The comment is from the user Heavenly Demon, and they recommended that I use either a favorite arc video or a video on how I got into One Piece. And I thought, since it's my first ever kind of hurdle that I've got over in the YouTube journey, that doing a how I got into One Piece video would be really insightful for many people who haven't seen my videos up to this point, but also because personally I feel as though I haven't been able to fully kind of get into my own point of view at this point, and I feel as though kind of allowing you all to see more of my perspective would be really good for the future, as well as, you know, just in general. As I've mentioned previously, I am currently in university. I'm actually going to be in my senior year, literally in the next coming months, which is really crazy. But my connection with One Piece originally started back when I was in high school, because it was during a winter break, and my friend Josh, who you will hear a lot in this video, was really trying to push me on the show because he was a really big fan of it. At this point, I wasn't really into a long-running kind of shonen-y anime. I don't think I've ever been into one at this point, except for Yu Yu Hakusho, which was one of my first and favorite anime. And also JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, as I mentioned previously, but that has many distinct sections. And One Piece, obviously being this massive series, you know, it's a bit intimidating, to say the least. I feel like many of the people who have been fans of it or have tried to get other people into it, obviously that is the main complaint. But obviously, as I am an avid fan of it now, it is honestly for the better. As I said, when I was first getting into the series, you know, we were watching East Blue. And for me, as a really stressed high school to college student, it was a bit hard to fully dedicate my time to One Piece instead of focusing on schoolwork. And at least for me, I felt as though there was no other character that compared in coolness or wow factor than Luffy. And honestly, the craziest thing about that is I still completely believe that, mostly to this day, because Luffy by far is my favorite character in this series. Even though you are seeing Whitebeard the Legend on screen right now, Luffy is still my favorite character. There's this massive wall of enjoyment almost compared to Luffy and every other character. It's kind of sad, but that just shows how great of a character he is, and he was the main reason I got invested into the series itself. But as I said, the East Blue Saga was not the most gripping stuff. That's not really hard to say. And as the winter break kind of rolled on, we only got to Syrup Village, and I think we finished Syrup Village. I'm not entirely sure, honestly, but I do know the last arc that we were on together was Usopp's introduction arc, and Usopp would become another character I really liked, but at this time I didn't really feel attached to him either, which is a shame, but oh well. Unfortunately, we did not get to the Baratier arc, which is the arc that got me back into the series after starting to read the manga instead, but oh well. After this, I took a really long break from One Piece because I just kind of put it on the back burner in case, you know, we ever decide to watch it together again. But, you know, that didn't happen for a while. We eventually did, but I'll get into that later. What I did instead was watch not a ton of other stuff, but I would watch series now and again. Like, I never would watch another massive shonen before One Piece that I can think of. The only other shonen that I think I've seen around this time frame was Hunter x Hunter, which was after I started One Piece again. But I can't think legitimately of one I've seen before because I kind of fell off of anime for a pretty long, extensive time because I felt as though there was nothing that I was really engaging with in the kind of community or a show in general. So why'd I get back into One Piece? What happened really? So what happened was quarantine happened, to put it as bluntly as possible. And I realized that I had a ton of time to dedicate to a series that, I don't know, I felt the draw of One Piece. Maybe it's because of the quarantine aspect of it, but personally, having this series all about adventure and all this magical and kind of whimsical stuff in a period of my life that was kind of, you know, crushing, very isolating. It felt really, really kind of perfect at the time. And little did I know that the series would become such a thing. It's just looking back on it in retrospect, it's kind of fascinating how it played out that way. Over the beginning of quarantine, I stumbled across a large group of videos called PCP University Lectures. While I've never heard the podcast that this is associated with, I thought these lectures were so interesting because they went really in depth about a series that you could tell they at least cared about to a strong extent, even though there were some that were legitimately kind of like meme worthy, like the Kokoro Wish one, which was phenomenal. I can't express that enough. It was amazing. But there was a One Piece video, and I thought, oh wow, I really like these kinds of videos. I might as well check out this One Piece one, up to the point where I stopped at the series. I'd like to give a big shout out to the guy who made that video, The Best Guy Ever. That is his channel name, The Best Guy Ever, because his pure enthusiasm for the series drew me back in almost entirely, because his passion, it was just infectious. And hearing him talk about such early sections of the story leading on to these massive and great things. Obviously, I did not watch the entirety of the video because I did not want to spoil myself, but his pure enthusiasm for the series is what drew me back in. So I do want to give a massive shout out to him, because without him, I would not be currently making a video in chapter 1000+ of One Piece. So I continued back on. Instead of watching the show though, I read the manga, because from what he said around the beginning sections of the video, that the anime's pacing gets kind of rough. So I decided to read the manga instead, because he recommended that over the anime. Almost immediately, I enjoyed One Piece much more than I did in the anime. This might be because I felt as though the Syrup Village arc was a bit longer than it needed to be, at least. I felt as though the Baratie arc was absolutely fantastic for so many aspects. One, I thought Sanji was actually really, really cool when he was introduced. However, Sanji's not one of my favorite crew members now. I don't even know if he's in the top 5, but I really, really like Sanji when he was introduced. I loved Mihawk showing up. I thought that was absolutely fantastic for world building, especially now looking at it in retrospect. It's absolutely insane. And there were just a lot of really great moments. Zoro finally had a really, really, really great moment with Luffy being called out, saying that he will never lose again. So that was absolutely fantastic. And I don't know, the Baratie arc, I just think was a absolutely standout arc, especially in comparison to Syrup Village, which I honestly did not like as much as the arcs previous. And immediately after that, we know that Arlong Park is right after, which was another amazing arc, especially for so early on in the series. So my enthusiasm was, again, it was completely revitalized because of someone's just pure joy in recommending this series, and I am so glad I stumbled across that video. And since I finished my finals and quarantine was still in full effect, I just got so immersed into this world. I remember on the first day of rereading after I finished the East Blue saga, I read all the way through to Alabasta and then Skypiea in one day, and then I read all up to Enies Lobby the day after, and that was a harrowing experience, to say the least. I was completely dumbfounded by the quality of what I've read up to this point, and I felt as though I needed to let other people know that this series is just next level. And the first person I thought of instantly was my friend Josh, who got me into the series originally. So I sent him a message saying, I just finished Water 7 in all caps, and he responds again, all caps, you're on Water 7, in pure disbelief. Over the reading that I had done, there have been so many absolutely amazing moments, like Calgara and Nolan's flashback, the Nico Robin I Want to Live scene, which I had to see in the anime because that scene in the manga had me dying. So I couldn't even imagine it with the voice acting and the swelling of music, and it still gets me, like, genuinely every time. And so many other moments, but I just don't want to ramble. And after this, our journey through One Piece slowed down immensely, but it did continue. I decided to start watching the anime with Josh because I felt as though I just needed to see every aspect of this series animated, because thinking about it, the world is already so in-depth and real, and I just want to see it in action up to this point. I will not lie to you though, maybe starting the anime on Thriller Bark was not the best idea. Ironically enough, after rereading Thriller Bark in the manga, I think Thriller Bark looks way better in the manga, but the anime journey began there, so I'm not gonna dwell on it any longer. I did also notice the genuinely slower pace that the anime had up to this point, but ironically enough, not knowing what happens later, maybe Thriller Bark was the perfect time to start the anime, because right after, my expectations were completely thrown out the water with Saobody and Impel Down and Marineford, which were all fantastic arcs that I feel as though if I read them in the manga, I would not have had such a journey through, because I feel as though I would just blitz through the entirety of those arcs in a single day. And having them in the anime, my build-up was absolutely much more fulfilling when the events all panned out. So we continued onward through Dressrosa, Whole Cake Island, and we got all the way up to Wano, and then we read the manga together, and now here we are. We're just here at the current day, and it's such a harrowing journey for me. Like, seeing this really genuinely kind of simple story evolve into this intense fantasy world with so much intricacy, and it's just absolutely admirable in so many ways. There were some aspects I obviously do not enjoy, like Sanji's kind of simp, awakening. But that's just one thing, obviously. There are other complaints I do have with One Piece, but I would say overall, it is absolutely fantastic. And the amount of effort that Oda has put into it has really inspired me, as someone who wants to be a writer in the future as well, to put a lot more effort into what I want to do in many aspects, like character importance in a story. I feel like Oda is a masterwork in that specific aspect of ensuring every character, well, most characters, have some importance in not only the plot, but also an emotional core and also a narrative core. It's absolutely insane. And the world building, obviously, Oda is a master of, because so many things link together in such a perfectly effortless way. It's almost like a chicken and the egg scenario where I can't tell if Oda thought this idea would be cool, or let's introduce this idea and then this idea would be cool if this happened. I know that sounds vague, but it's just Oda does it so effortlessly. I'm having a hard time believing it's not all planned out years and years in advance. But yeah, I guess this pans out to where I'm at now in One Piece. I read the chapters weekly as they come out, and I was just so invested in this series at this point, I decided that I just wanted to put content out about this series, because honestly, it's a wellspring of absolute joy in my life right now. There's just so much that I absolutely adore about the series, and I just wanted to meet other people who also are really big fans of the series, and I just wanted to get my own thoughts out there and just kind of see if other people agree or what they think in general about the series. I just really like having this community aspect, and I think at this point I'm just, I'm in a really good place with the series right now. I'm in an eager weekly waiting period of the Onigashima raids action, and the anime is absolutely stellar, so I get to talk to many people on both ways about the series. The main goal of wanting to make videos on One Piece is to show my pure admiration for the series and try to spread the good word of it. I know that sounds like I'm kind of a door-to-door salesman of One Piece, but it's really, really great, and I just wanted to show my passion, my enthusiasm. Kind of like the video that inspired me to make this. I want to inspire others to check out the show and follow their passions if they want to make videos or just want to explore a new show or anything really. I feel as though being able to put your voice out there and kind of express creativity is really, really important to people, because it allows them to get inspired as well. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I know the ending got a bit, preachy, to say the least, but I don't know. I think it's a really important message, and I feel as though pushing creativity is absolutely really important, especially if it's something you really enjoy. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and that was my One Piece journey. I know it might have felt a bit rambly, because there are a lot of aspects that weren't specifically One Piece related, like me mentioning Yu Yu Hakusho and the Best Guy Ever video, but I feel as though that's all important as to why I got back into One Piece. Obviously, if you have not watched the show, would very much recommend. I felt as though I didn't say any really massive spoiler things in this video really at all, so hopefully if any of it sounds intriguing, then I hope you give it a shot.